Hi there, and welcome to the Clear Skin Essentials, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So, last week was my 41st birthday, and also, I think most of you know this, I'm 7 months pregnant, so getting further along in my pregnancy, plus I'm starting to feel a little bit more my age these days, definitely, and it's definitely because of the pregnancy that kind of takes my energy a little bit, but I thought what would be fun today would be to talk about what are some of the things that I've learned over the years about anti-aging. You know, what are those things that really help to keep your skin young, to keep your skin healthy and bright, and to kind of keep those fine lines and wrinkles at bay? And also, what are those things that you need to really avoid that could sort of accelerate the aging process of your skin? Because there's quite a few things that I've seen really help and really not help. So, and I love sharing my experience with that. So before I get into it though, I do want to mention that on today's blog post, I put together like a full written article on this, and there's a lot of points in that article. There's a lot of tips and a lot of my sort of anti-aging secrets that you should definitely check out that blog post, because I don't know if I'll have enough time to go through everything I wrote in the article in this video. So if you enjoy this video, definitely go to my website, theclearSkinEssentials.com, click on today's blog post and check out the blog post that goes with it. And I'll put the link right below to that blog post as well. So what are the things that I've learned so far about anti-aging? I would say the first two big things that I've really seen has the most impact on whether your skin is going to be healthy and young and radiant and kind of keep those fine lines and wrinkles at bay, and what's gonna like really bring out the lines and wrinkles in your skin and actually cause deeper and more permanent lines and wrinkles. I would definitely say the two big things is stress and your diet. You know, it's one of those things where I see now in my 40s, there's less I can get away with than when I was in my 20s. Okay, like with my 20s, I can go out all night and like eat junk food and drink alcohol and bounce back the next day. And now in my 40s, like if I do that, I look terrible the next day. And if I do that regularly, I couldn't even imagine what I'd be looking like. Because it doesn't bounce back. It doesn't go back to what it was like a few days ago. You know, it's really like recovery process takes a much longer time. You know, that's part of aging. And so stress and diet, really, really important. When it comes down to stress, I find, you know, if you're holding too much stress or tension in your body, it creates lines and wrinkles. I saw, like, I have an example of like last week, I was really stressed out about something. I was very upset. And by the end of the day, I had like this big line across my forehead. And normally at this point in my life, I've been very lucky. I don't get too many lines on my forehead. It's mostly my eyes that I have a lot of wrinkles. But this one day, like I had this like deep line across my forehead. I looked like I slept on something that like indented my forehead. And I realized, I was like, this is not something I've slept on. This is stress that I've been walking around with like all day, and the anger in my face. And imagine if I walk around every day like this, what it would do. I would have like permanent lines. And as I'm getting older, those lines are not going away so quickly or easily. And so it just reminded me how important it is to be aware of the stress that you're carrying around. Find ways to release stress and pressure and you know, get your emotions out, not to be bottling everything in, not be holding in anger, things like that. And learn really be aware of where you're holding tension in your face. You know, for me, a lot of times it's my jaw, and lately it's like my jaw and my forehead. And I have to consciously tell myself throughout the day, I do this all the time, of just release that tension. You know, release the jaw, release tension you might be holding behind your eyes or in your shoulders, in your body, because that too will help to slow down the lines and the wrinkles in the aging process. Definitely, 100%. And you feel a lot better when you're not all tensed up all the time. And the same thing goes with diet, is that, you know, I always talk about how important diet is, especially for our skin and for our health in general. But I find that when it comes down to, if someone really wants to sort of, maintain the youthfulness of your skin, you really have to work on diet, more so than any time before, because I know that there's many foods I used to be able to get away with eating and no problem. It wouldn't show on my skin. But now in my 40s, it does. Like alcohol is probably like one of the worst things for your skin. And I know for myself, coffee it really makes me look tired. It makes my skin look gray. It takes away sort of the glow in my skin. I look dehydrated and old. And unfortunately, I have like a love-hate relationship with coffee. I can stay off of it for years and feel fantastic, but then one day pick it up, and next thing you know it, I'm like addicted to it again. And it shows quickly in my skin. And so for me, that's one thing I try my best to avoid. I do my best. And I would also say high sodium foods, MSG, and also eating out at restaurants. And a lot of times people ask me, well, like, does it mean like you never eat out, or you never have like anything with salt in it? And of course not. What it means, especially I love to eat out, so it's not something I'm going to give up. But what I've learned is that it's really important to focus on what I'm doing around sort of those meals, that like, let's say I'm going out for dinner tonight, I'll make sure that all day today I'm drinking a lot of water, I'm eating a lot of water-rich and fiber-rich foods, like a lot of fruits and vegetables, make sure I'm exercising, making sure I'm doing all these activities that are kind of keeping my body moving, like keeping my digestion moving, helping my lymphatic system move things out, keeping my blood circulation going, so that when I go out tonight for a meal that might be high in salt and very rich, that my body is already fully hydrated, my digestion is working great, so that everything just kind of moves out of me the next day, that I don't wake up being like a balloon and puffy, but I might wake up a little bit of puffiness, but nothing like it could be if I'd been seriously dehydrated and not exercising and eating just a lot of rich and salty food. So I've learned that there's ways of kind of countering it, but you have to put in the effort, and you got to be aware of it. And yeah, if that's important to you, for me it is, so I do things to make sure that I don't give up the things I love, but that I have a good, healthy balance. Okay, really important. And another thing too with sort of like anti-aging, because when we think about anti-aging, we think about products, right? We think about anti-aging creams and serums and eye creams, things like that. And one thing that I've noticed over the years is that there's a lot of anti-aging products, whether they're mainstream or natural, that can actually make your wrinkles look worse. Okay, and there's just a lot of even skincare products and makeup that can make you look older, that can really accentuate your lines and wrinkles on your face. And this was first brought to my attention by my lovely mother. And this is one of like the best beauty advice I've ever been given. And it was many years ago. It was about, I would say like over 10 years ago, where I had bought a very expensive eye cream. And I was so excited about it. And I got home and I put it on and I went to show my mother. And my mother, she looks really closely at me and she's like, that eye cream is making your wrinkles worse. It's not good. Take it back. And I was like kind of shocked. I'm like, what do you mean? Like this is a very popular cream and I spent a lot of money on it. And she's like, no. She's like, you have to be so careful, Natasha. She's like, a lot of products that are meant to be anti-aging or meant to be good for your skin can make your skin look more wrinkled and more lined and bring some of that out. She's like, you really need to look at yourself when you're buying this stuff and look in the mirror. It's not only feeling what the texture is like and all that, but really seeing like, is this making my wrinkles look a little bit smoother, or is it really accentuating deep lines? And from that experience, I've always been very aware of this, that whenever I try any product, it's the first thing I look at, like, is it accentuating my wrinkles or is it making my skin look nice and smooth? And I've seen, especially with like eye creams, you have to be so careful. And I know for myself, my skin does a lot better now that I have more wrinkles on my skin. It does a lot better with oils and with very more sort of richer moisturizing creams. as opposed to any kind of gel formula. And interesting enough, I find with eye creams that if an eye cream is formulated to like tighten up your skin, to tighten up wrinkles, or give you kind of a lift, a lot of times it can be very drying. A lot of times it's a gel formula, and that can actually tighten your skin too much to accentuate the wrinkles. So sometimes it's better to go with formulas, especially if you have a lot of lines around your eyes, especially like me. It's good to actually use something that's just a lot more nourishing and moisturizing for the skin as opposed to tightening. I also find too is like at this time in my life, I can't use anything that's like a powder that really makes my skin look old and dry and cracked and wrinkled. Plus also even sometimes just products that have too much of a matte finish. You know, that too can be an eye cream, that there's a lot of eye creams out there that are formulated really to nourish the skin, but because they have more of a matte finish, they bring out the lines in your skin. And so I do much better with something that has more of like a dewier finish than a matte finish, you know, and really it's testing things out. And sometimes too, like for me is that around my eyes, I need something that has more of a shinier finish or dewier finish. But then again, around my like T-zone area, my forehead and my nose, my chin, I need something that's more matte because my skin tends to get quite shiny. And so what I've learned is that there's certain products that at some point or another might be really good for the center of your face, but nowhere else. You know, so instead of using like a powder, I'll use a primer to mattify my forehead and my nose, my chin, where I don't have lines. And then around the rest of my face, I use something that's a lot more richer and more dewier in texture. And that is a better balance for me. So it's about modifying and changing things, you know, not getting stuck in what you were using and doing 10 years ago, you know, or even 5 years ago. But it's like, you know, what do I need today, right now, at this time? You know, because what worked 5 years ago probably won't work for you right now. Okay, and that's something we have to keep updating is our routine, you know, our skincare routine, our diet routine, our health routine, our exercise routine, all of that we have to keep checking in, adjusting, and making things work. And then another thing for anti-aging is protecting your skin. And it's not only protecting your skin, let's say, from like the sun, but I would actually say it's protecting your skin from yourself. I find a lot of us, okay, and especially me, is that sometimes we want to do so much, and sometimes doing too much can make things worse. And I actually find that as at least for myself, as I've been getting older, is that the less, the better. Back when I was in my 20s, and even in my early 30s, and especially when I was a teenager, I always thought that like the more I did with my skin, or the more I put on my skin, or the more I kind of scrub my skin, that I thought that would get rid of the acne, would get rid of breakouts, would make my skin clear and beautiful. And over the years, I found that the opposite is true. And what I can also say too is just observing people over the years of using a lot of harsh products, is that not only did it not help with like getting rid of breakouts and acne and things like that, but it actually can accelerate the aging process of your skin too. And for a lot of people, even make them more susceptible to sun damage and early premature wrinkles and hyperpigmentation and all of that. And so if there was one piece of advice I'd give to anyone that really wants to maintain the youthfulness of their skin. They want to start now, and they might be in their teens or in their 20s or 30s or 40s or even the 50s or 60s. Like, what can you do right now to really support the health of your skin? I would say number one is being as gentle with your skin as possible. That really your approach to your skin has to be gentle and nourishing. Nothing in your skincare routine should in any way irritate your skin, dry your skin out, make your skin red. Nothing you put on your skin should like tingle or burn. Like a lot of times people think that, oh, product is working because it tingles on my face. No, if product is tingling on your face, it means it's irritating your face. And if you use a product that's always irritating your skin, over time, that's gonna accelerate the aging of your skin. Because it's just thinning your skin out. It's irritating it. It's causing inflammation. And it's not soothing your skin. It's not nourishing it. It's not being gentle with it so that it can thrive and be healthy. So really, really important is ask yourself, the water you're using on your face, is it a comfortable temperature or is it too hot, right? So many people, they use super scorching hot water on their face every day. Talk about a way of accelerating the aging of your skin. Myself personally, if you've taken my video course, the Clear Skin Skincare Rules, I talk about water a lot, and I talk about how it's terrible to even wash your face in the shower. It's too hot in the shower to be washing your face, and not to put your face directly under the shower head with this bursting of hot water on your face. I mean, talk about a way of dehydrating your skin, irritating your skin, breaking blood vessels or capillaries in your skin. All of that, the worst thing for aging your skin. Me personally, I haven't washed my face in the shower in over 6 years. It's one thing that I do to keep the redness or irritation down, to eliminate it completely from my skin. I don't want that. And I see a big difference keeping my skin young, to keeping those fine lines and wrinkles at bay, and just having good, clear skin. And so it's asking yourself, what is my routine doing? Is there certain things in my routine that I can change around or do differently to be more gentle on my skin, to not be so rough, to not hurt my skin in any way? Because if you hurt your skin, you're irritating it and you're aging it. Okay, so really, 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 really important. And I have a bunch of tips on on today's blog post about this. So definitely, if you're this makes sense, go to today's blog post at clearskinessentials.com and check it out, because I do talk more in depth about this. And then I guess lastly, and this is a big one, is where are you getting your information from? And this is something I think about a lot, okay? And it's because I've always loved learning about skincare and health and beauty and all of that. I love reading books and blogs and websites and magazines and articles, all of that, love it. But one thing that I've been thinking about a lot, and I had a recent experience of this where I was reading a blog that I read quite frequently, right? And it was a review of an anti-aging product, right? And the person writing it, the review, was raving about this product. And I thought, oh, that's, great. And then at some point, the person who was raving at the product mentions that they're 22 years old. And then it hits me, oh my goodness, this product might be great for a 22-year-old and the wrinkles that she sees on her face, but my wrinkles at 41 or 40 or whatever age I was at are a lot different. And it kind of made me aware that you got to think about what you're reading and who wrote it and how old they are. Also location as well. I love reading people's comments on blogs. Okay, I think that's my favorite. Reading comments than actually reading blog posts. And I always cringe when someone says that they followed what someone else was doing and it's not working, and then you see where they're from. And it might be someone from Singapore, right? That they're following a blog or a blogger or a health, an expert in living all the way in London. And they're I'm following your skincare routine, but why is my skin all red and messed up? And it's well, yeah, because the person in cold, dark, dreary London, what they can use on their skin, the products they can use on their skin, is very different than what this person living in Singapore, where it's really hot and strong sun, what they can put on their skin. I know this because I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. I'm from a very cold part of the world where the sun isn't very strong most of the year. And I've moved to Bali, Indonesia, where I'm right near the equator, and I've been living here for 6 years, and it's so hot and the sun is extremely strong, from 6:30 in the morning up until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And what I can put on my skin like in Canada is very different than what I put on my skin here in Indonesia. You know, it's if I followed someone's routine in London, my skin would be totally sun damaged and burnt and really in bad shape. So it's important to, when you're reading blogs or you're reading books or reading articles, to think about, you know, who is the author, who is the expert, who is the blogger, how old are they, where do they live, what things like that. And it's not to say that you need to like only read things written by someone your age or who lives in your location or your kind of environment. Not at all. I really find the more diverse the information you're getting from people of different age groups, different backgrounds, different locations, all of that, the better. Because there's so much great information out there, and we learn from people who are younger than us and who are older than us or at our age. You know, it doesn't matter. But it's important that you adjust things. You know, that like if you know, yeah, this review I'm reading right now is written by someone that's 20 years younger than me, then maybe that product, you know, maybe I need to research more about that product to know if that product is really going to be good for me. You know, and the same thing of if I'm going to follow what someone else is doing, is it appropriate for where I live? Things like that, to think about it a little bit more before just kind of doing it or accepting it. That's all. And because I do find that the more knowledge you have, the more power you have. And I find that like the more that you're seeking out, that's what keeps you young. That's what keeps you have a seeking spirit and learning more, doing more, and getting better results as well. All right, so do check out my article on what I've learned so far about anti-aging, because there's even more tips over there. I'll put the link below. And yeah, and thank you everyone too for the birthday wishes. I love it and super excited. Yeah, so wishing everyone a fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.